Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
The blood of Christ, your cup of salvation.
We've just celebrated the Eucharist here at the Seamans Church Institute, very close to Ground Zero. And it's the Feast of the Holy Cross. And nothing could be a more appropriate celebration, if we can call it that, than to reflect on the mystery of the cross, the suffering that we share by virtue of being persons of faith, and the profound call to be persons of reconciliation, which is what the cross is ultimately about. Jesus saying, when I am lifted up, I will draw everything out of its disparateness, everything out of its conflict, everything out of its anger, hostility, and misunderstanding into unity, into me. And I think it was very important for the volunteers, and for me too, to share this feast and to remind ourselves what it means to be persons of faith, to be signs of reconciliation in the midst of these desperate circumstances and in the midst of incredible emotion on all sides.
The tragedy is so enormous. You just kind of need to set that over there sometimes and think, okay, I can't do anything about that part now, but I can say hi to somebody who's coming in and say, what can I do for you? When the tragedy happened, actually there were staff of Seamans Church Institute on the balcony witnessing everything after the first plane hit. So immediately they began to rally to try to be prepared to do whatever they could to help. We did flyers that people took out to different work crews saying, when you're free, come in, do what you need to do here. At first we were just thinking of food, coffee, drink, whatever we could do. And then a guy would come in and say, do you have an aspirin? Oh my goodness, we didn't even think about that kind of thing, so we rallied for aspirins. Then we realized that these National Guard officers and some others come out of town, they needed clean socks or undershirts. Is there anywhere I can wash up? So we have one men's room here, one ladies' room, but trying to provide supplies.
We're frying food, we're grilling hamburgers and hot dogs, we're making sandwiches, we're getting ice, we're picking up deliveries, we're getting food ready to send out to the people who are not able to get away at this time and come in here. And one of the things we're trying to do with everybody is to talk to them. In other words, we're just not dispensing food, but we're trying to dispense some friendship and some hospitality at the same time.
Peter, tell me a little bit about how you set this all up and how it works.
Our chairman of our board at Seamans Church called in as soon as this disaster happened, and I said, he said, open the place up, be of help to anybody in your area as much as you can do, 24/7. So we changed our mission at that moment, and we just said we're going to take care of rescue workers. That's going to be our focus, and it has been for 72 hours, and we're going to keep this up until things are normalized here.
Yeah. Where do volunteers come from?
We have no phones, no electricity here, so what we did was contact General Seminary, and through General Seminary, they coordinate the restaurants which are providing most of the food and the volunteers to serve it, and then they funnel them down to us.
Are you guys leaving too?
What you see going on here is people reaching out to touch each other, to feed each other, and to care for each other, and all those things I think are ways in which God is in fact working even in the midst of this terrible tragedy. And I think it ought to remind those of us who are Christians that we worship a God who died on the cross, and a God who therefore knows what it's like to suffer, a God who's been one of us, and a God who's right here.